So cool. I'll be back. I promise I'll be back. And this is amazing. I've never seen something like that. It's just like unbelievable. You need to come to Bratislava. Good morning, Bratislava. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah. So cool. All right. I want to talk about epic disruption to you today with you guys. And I feel really connected because, to be honest with you, I'm a geek exactly like you. So probably I look old now with all the stuff that I'm doing. But I mean, I was in your shoes. And I wrote books about C++, Java, and everything. So I know exactly what you're doing, and I love what you're doing. And I can tell you that probably when I retire, I go back to more programming, definitely. But today I want to talk to you about epic disruption. And when I want to talk about epic disruption is that, first of all, we need to define what is epic disruption. What means epic? Do you know what means epic? Any ideas? Epic means massive, huge, big, anything you've seen. You haven't seen it yet. And that's what I say all the time. Technology is moving so fast that the thing that we've seen 20 years ago and the pace we've seen is nothing comparable to what we're going to experience in the next 5 years. And so I want to discuss that with you because this is exactly what our labs are doing. So we have labs all over the world. We've been doing applied research for more than 30 years at Accenture, believe it or not. And I have probably the best job in this planet and the best job at Accenture because I get to work with amazing people that reinvent the world, reinvent what we can do with technology today. And so the way I want to talk about EPIC is to look at EPIC as an acronym and look for each of the letters and tell you exactly what we see. All right? So I want to start with E. And E is very simple. If you want to start with E, the first thing to think about is exponential. And exponential is technology. And I mentioned that before. You know, I started to work at my uncle company. I was 15, and I was working at IBM 360 at the time. IBM 360, you need to think about it. You needed basically an artificial lake to basically refrigerate the whole system. So you had more, it was more expensive to build the artificial lake than to buy the mainframe. And so this is exactly what's going on here. You see the different technology trends, and you see how things are maturing. And what we see is that more than 50 years ago, it was all the era of mainframe. And we're still doing a lot of mainframe work, definitely. But the maturity took a lot of time. And you see basically the other technology trends, you know, they're going faster and faster. And they're adding up. And so what we see here, which is very interesting, is three things. Number one is that technology trends are getting faster than ever. And if you look at quantum computing, we just started in the lab 3 years ago, a quantum computing practice. We're working today on optimization algorithm for organ transplant because it takes only 2 to 3 hours basically to find a good receiver from a donor. Unless running that on classical machine, you're not going to find the right receiver. So if you use that on quantum computing, this is how it's going to play. And we'll talk about that next week. I think in next week or 2 weeks' time, a webinar with D-Wave. So this is the step that we're doing. So it goes very, very fast. So number one is that acceleration of technology. Second thing is that combinatorial of technology. If you combine all this technology, this is where the magic happens. You remember? The magic. And that's exactly what we're going to see. And the third one, which is very important, is the IT economics. Technology doesn't cost anything anymore. Storage, down to zero. Communication, down to zero. Access to massive processing power on a cloud, down to zero. That's exactly what's happening. So if you combine all these things together, we're in the verge of big transformation. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So that's exponential. Now, what comes with exponential, which is quite interesting, is the fact that a lot of people believe that things are going to shift. And if you look at the quote from the CEO of NVIDIA, it says like Moore's law is not working anymore. And it's probably right. I don't believe that we're going to continue with Moore's law as we did, where we double the number of transistors we can put on the chip every year. I mean, it's normal. I mean, we're reaching basically a point where basically electronics will come with a lot of interferences and everything. Chip will not be able to be built as easily as it was possible. If you look at the semiconductor industry, they're shifting, they're transitioning. But who cares? I say, because there's going to be a new type of technology that we're working already on. Neuromorphic computing, biocomputing. I talk about quantum computing. So you guys will have a choice of computing power, different type of chip architectures and everything that you never thought possible, where you're going to be able to apply basically the magic of technology. Now I want to go to the next letter, which is P. And P stands for pervasive. I think not only the technology is accelerating, but technology is absolutely everywhere. And technology is changing basically our mindset. I want to give you just this little story that happened to me a month ago. I was visiting my daughter in Paris, and at the time, basically, it was time to order my Uber to go to the airport. I ordered my Uber. It was a Mercedes, black. Came down from the flat, went down to the car on the back, and I asked the guys basically to drive me to the airport. And the guy says, like, I'm sorry, I'm not an Uber guy. I'm just here waiting for my family because we're departing for vacation. I would never have done that, I mean, like a few years ago. But the thing is, you know, technology is shaping the way we behave. And because it's pervasive in everything we do, I mean, we're adopting it very quickly, and we don't think about it. So I want to talk to you about pervasive and give you a couple of numbers that is pretty mind-boggling. I mean, the first one is that 4 billion people are connected today on the internet. And I think the challenge is going to be that in the next probably 10 years, we will have to connect the other 4 billions that are coming. Definitely. And I think what's even more staggering is that you hear that 6 billion people have smartphones today. Potential sensors, where we collect so many data. And connection with the data is this number also, which is kind of interesting. By 2022, more than 1 billion people will have data about stored in blockchain. So fasten your seatbelt, as my friend said. Blockchain is here, but I think it's not only blockchain, it's much more than blockchain. Our labs is already working on some other technologies called homomorphic encryption. Have you heard about homomorphic encryption? It's a really cool story. Is that the problem is that blockchain is all good for traceability, making sure that basically all the data that you are access is the right data, true source and everything. So you have all reliability on this. But I mean, related to encryptions and everything, there's still a lot of work to do. And so other technology like homomorphic encryption can help with that. And what it is that is the possibility today to take encrypted data and run algorithm on encrypted data without never decrypting the data. And the result is going to be encrypted itself. And you'll be able basically to share this encrypted data to the different partners that have been using their data to collect the information coming from the algorithm. Using their private key, they'll be able to decipher the data and figure out what it is. That is going to change completely the whole industry and the whole manufacturer. So blockchains, big stuff. Homomorphic encryption, another big stuff. 5G, how we transport all the data, 4G, 5G. In fact, 6G is status right now, to be honest with you. And in 5G, if you think that 5G is cool because it's going to be 4G on steroid, you're completely wrong. That is not that. 5G is all about connecting devices. It's all about bringing processing power in the cloud and bringing that also almost automatically in your devices. We're going to change completely how you build devices. Look at everything that you see, like extended reality goggles and everything. The big problem is that you need to design chips, very small, miniaturized, that you can put on those goggles. And because they're so small, you remember my Moore's law, okay, you need to make basically reductions in terms of specs. Field of view is not as good, resolution is not as good and everything. Think about it. Let's say that basically we're going to do all the computing power in the cloud, and through 5G, send you all the rendering directly on your lens. This is exactly what you're going to get. So we'll be able basically to do lightweight devices, faster, better, everything that you want to see. And you see this move already in the gaming industry. Stavia and all these things, it's all on the cloud now, okay? So that's what 5G is going to provide us also, a remote computing power, plus all this connection that we're going to see. The car you're going to drive tomorrow will be a completely different car. By the way, our labs is working with a big OEM equipment, automotive equipment. It's called Faurecia, the French company. It's a leader in their market. They do dashboards and seats and everything. And we're reinventing with them the cockpit of the future. What's going to be the time you're going to be spending when you don't drive the car? It's going to be all productive activities. What are you going to do? What you would like to have. It's probably not 4 seats like it is. It could be a table with a snap of finger. You can change the whole perspective of what you want to see. This is what we're inventing, and it's coming. All right. And the last thing is that 19 billion connected, that's what I said to you, 19 billion connected devices today. It's probably close to 35 billions, okay, coming in 2025. This is exactly the name of the game. More product, more connected, more intelligent, and that's a great segue for the next letter, which is this one, the I. And of course, I could talk about artificial intelligence and everything. I just want to talk about intelligence, but I don't want to talk about artificial intelligence because everyone talks about artificial intelligence. I want to talk about something different. I believe that the next revolution is not internet, is not AI, is not all these things. My belief is that the next revolution is going to be this. I call that Industry X.0. Industry X.0 is the way you're going to develop product service in the future, using new tools that we have not invented yet, and they will come, that will change the process of manufacturing and creativity to create product and service you've never seen before, and it will change your experience forever. That's exactly where we're going. And ladies and gentlemen, what I'm telling you here, that applies to absolutely every business and every industry in the world. Not only planes, aerospace, or like cars, but it applies for civil engineering, it applies for organs, it applies for food processing, it applies for absolutely everything. I really believe in it. And I would say even more. I would say that we're all living a century which is another replica of the Renaissance century. Remember, during the Renaissance time, probably we're not living at the time, but we could read. And what we read is that painters, sculptors, look at inventing new tools, new brushes, okay? New knife, new type of things. What do they want to do? They want to reinvent their art, change the process on how they're painting, how they're sculpting. And it changed the experience of us receiving basically those arts. And this is exactly what we're living today. And so I had a couple of examples of how this is going to work. And this is some example of the future, future of tools, future of processes, and future of experiences. Future of tools, you see, this is 3D printing on steroid. This is called carbon 3D. The big difference is not additive manufacturing. It's a photolithographic systems. They're using oxygen and light, ultraviolet light, to combine carbon molecules directly on the product, and you extract basically from liquid polymer the product itself. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not like a product for modeling. This is the real product. And companies like BMWs and everything are using that, this kind of carbon 3D printer, to build basically the light. So what that means that you don't need molds anymore. We're shifting, new product. Tomorrow, if you look at generative design, all CAD/CAM system will be assisted with artificial intelligence. And they are today. They're starting to be. They're going to pump up basically your creativity. You don't have to go through all the frames, figure out how things are built. We will build these kind of tools. And that's great because we'll give those tools to people who have no certification, probably less education, and they'll be able still to manage those tools because they'll be guided by artificial intelligence. And this is exactly what we want. The second thing is that you see future of process when we're going to combine three worlds. The world of survey, when we do 3D scanning, basically to understand exactly what has been built, a car, a street, a refinery. The world of engineering, which is the CAD/CAM world, and the world of gaming, VR. We need to connect all this, the point cloud, the design of CAD/CAM, and the VR game, where you can provide immersive learning to your people. You can provide a completely different type of tools and different type of process to create things. You see here what we've been doing. This is with Sanofi, by the way. We're looking at Petri box, where you have bacteria in it, and then using machine learning and robots basically can sort out basically in the Petri box which one have the bacteria and which not. This is completely automated. New process. And the experience. I told you about Forestia. This is the stuff that we're inventing. Cockpit of the future. You will have new experience. This person here, head of the chair of the practice for biotechnology in MIT. New experience. He can talk about new experience. He was a mountaineer. He lost his 2 legs. He got amputated. And then he built basically new bionic legs, prosthetic. Remember what I told you, new tools, new process. He has worked with surgeons to reinvent the process of amputation. Why? Because think about it. Today, prosthetic give you just a feedback, so you can wire your brain, go up to your prosthetic, and then decide exactly which configuration you want your legs to move. When you're doing mountain climbing, you never look down. You always look up. That means that you need to rely on the configuration of your legs without looking at them, That means you need to have a retro feedback. This was not existing before. By rewiring basically his whole nervous system with this prosthetic, he's been able basically to do that. New experience. New tools, new process, new experience. They will change our life forever, and I think we will need more software, more hardware work on this kind of technology to change experience of our people. So, the way I explained that to my mom is that I built a digital toaster. And I guarantee that you will buy a digital toaster for Christmas. That's, in a nutshell, a very simplistic way of explaining exactly how we're going to do manufacturing in the future. And let's say I want to build a digital toaster. Everyone knows what is toaster, okay? Everyone in the world. It's completely universal. And we've built toaster forever. So we know what is the best toaster. We know the specs. In fact, we could even create the spec automatically using natural language processing. You go to every blogs from all the companies like Darties and everything that sell those stuff, and we see people that bitching about their toaster, stuff that doesn't work, stuff that they'd like to see. And so we can collect all those features and then automatically generate the specs. When you have generated the specs, what you're going to do, you're going to create basically a design of the toaster. And I'm going to create a digital twin that you're going to be experiencing all over the world. I will put people at the center of the design of the toaster. I will even hyper-personalize the toaster for you. You'll be able to see it using virtual reality. You'll be able to smell it using olfactive platform that you can even feel basically and smell, okay, the taste of the toast that you grill. And you'll be able to touch it with haptics. People all over the world will be working on this. And when we all be happy with the digital twin that we have created, then we'll manufacture it. And the digital twin will continue living while you're going to be using it. Why? Remember what I told you? Every product will be connected. They will be connected on the internet. Eventually, we can sell you new services, bring in new toast when you don't have enough. Or do predictive maintenance on your toaster, knowing that basically it's going to break down. And I'll be able to send you basically a YouTube video plus a part that you're going to print out in 3D printing to change that directly on your toaster. And eventually, I can connect you with a health insurance because you've been toasting too much. This is exactly what will happen in every industry, ladies and gentlemen. Every flight you take today has a replica, has a digital twin in a computer that's flying exactly at the same time on a computer for predictive monitoring. Everything will be the same. And I think long ago will be X-rays and all those things because we'll be able to predict your health directly through a lot of sensing that we're going to be providing through those autonomous car, where we'll collect data, we'll have new technology that you'll benefit from, where we'll be able basically to have your own digital twin. Scary as that, but basically to make your life obviously better. So that's Industry 6.0, and I believe that's going to be really big. Now I want to accelerate and talk about continuous. I talk about the emerging and the exponential technology. I talk about how pervasive it is. I talk about how intelligent, now it's continuous. And continuous is all about speed, okay? That's what we need to understand. And one thing that we know is that big companies, they need innovation, and they need more innovation, and they need to re-innovate the way they do innovations, because to be honest with you, this is not doing very well. And I think here, during this event, we'll talk a lot about innovation and how we drive innovation at scale, because this is exactly what's needed today, and this is not what's happening. But again, continuous is all about speed, and I wanted to share again a couple of numbers for you, staggering numbers, because I think we make technology complacent. We don't realize the world we're living in. And so I put like a couple of numbers related to what's happening on the internet every 60 seconds. And look at that one. I mean, the first thing that is kind of funny is that close to 4 million Google searches. That means like people are looking at a lot of things. Eventually, they're looking for buying a new digital toaster. But you see, I mean, there's a lot of, close to 200 million email sends. Probably in the next 10 years, we won't have emails anymore. There will be a new type of platform. We'll have to think about this. Look at that. 41.6 million WhatsApp messages sent. I mean, this is just staggering. And if you look at all those numbers, I like this one as well, like 700,000 hours of Netflix watch. I mean, this is huge. This is humongous. I mean, think about it. What's going to happen when all this stuff is going to be delivered through VR? You don't have to move. That's going to be in your car, because while you're driving, you can't watch TVs, but this time you'll be able. So it's going to be even going up, you know. Look at that one. I love this one. I hope you guys are not contributing, the guys looking at your phones. at these stats because I'd be very pissed off. But this is pretty amazing if you think about this also. I mean, all those platforms, I mean, they're extremely successful and people get crazy about these things, you know? Now, I think what we see also is that not only this technology goes fast, this technology is pervasive and it's continuous, but also it has a major impact on the business of our clients. Look at these ones, like Airbnb enters hoteling, you know? Airbnb for everyone, cool. The same week, look at that one, the same week, Marriott enters room sharing. How fun is that? They cross over. You know, this is what's happening, and we're gonna see that more and more. Look at that one. I think this one is my favorite one. Who's playing Fortnite? Come on, you guys are playing Fortnite. Just admit this. All right. I play, all right. But look at that. Just in UK, 200 divorces because of Fortnite. I think that's pretty cool. I know, not me. Well, the good stuff is that they're changing season, so now they switch up the whole stuff and they're gonna restart it. But people got so pissed off, I mean, they started to break basically their TV set and everything, so kids are interesting stuff. Anyway, what I was telling you is like, we spent $3.2 trillion in innovation across all industries. And to be honest, the result is pretty full. I think we should do better. And I think you guys can help to do better. And I think this is going to be really a discussion about how, again, you drive this innovation, all this technology for something that scale. But I think one thing that we need to remember, beside exponential, beside of pervasive, beside of intelligent, beside of continuous, is one C, and it's caring. There's no technology, there's no successful solution or platform without building a partnership, without building a responsible business, leveraging responsible technology, because with all this power comes responsibility. And that's exactly what we need to be thinking. The whole discussion that I have is that where is this technology going to take? Where's going to be the limit of this technology? Technology, limit, there's no limit. The only limit is that how we're going to apply it, what the regulations we're going to put in place, how responsible we're going to drive it. Caring is the mindset of our organization, of Accenture, of what we want to do, of what we want to think with you. I think it's also the mindset of our people. It's the mindset of the new generation as well. I have 3 millennials, I can tell you that. And the first thing they told me is that one day you had this great job of R&D, you need to think about what you're going to do good for the planet. How are you going to leverage this technology for all our people? What are we going to do with that? So we launched more than 4 years ago a big program called Tech for Good. This is not fashionable. A lot of people are launching this fashionable program, Tech for Good. We're not thinking about what we're doing at the time, but it became completely viral. We started in India, now it goes all over the place. We get really excited with what we're doing. Our people get excited, our NGO and partners get excited, and our future generation get excited. I have a small video that I want to play for you, and we'll talk about this right after. Okay, that's the short version, because I have like 2 hours long version with tons of stuff that our people are doing. They're unstoppable. They're crazy about these things. And I think this is pretty cool. And by the way, a lot of things that we're doing here can be repurposed and reused in real industry, business, and stuff like that. Absolutely. So I think this is great things. Now, there's one thing that I wanted to conclude is that we talk about exponential, pervasive, intelligence, continuous, caring, and I think we should talk about courage. And I like very much the quote that we did related to Pierre. Pierre was a real role model. I worked with him very closely. He was extremely visionary in what he was saying. And I have this quote from him, which is, embracing innovation is extremely important. All of us need to have the courage to change. It changed our firm forever. I think it changed our mindset as well. And he saw this. He saw where the world is going and what we need to do to make it better and much more responsible. And I can tell you he was one of the biggest fan of the Tech for Good work that we're doing. An amazing person. Okay. So with this, I've got like 3 words to leave you with. The first one is this one. Well, it's not really a word, it's a sentence. Innovation has no finish line. So whether we like it or not, that's just life. You know, we need to continue. We need to continue with technology. We need to continue embracing technology, and we need to live with technology. I think this is important. Live with technology meaning what? You need to embrace it. You need to understand exactly how you can leverage it. You need to be responsible about how you're going to use it. But what it means also is that you need to learn. You need to be relentless about learning. Relentless about understanding exactly how this technology can be applied to this business problem or this world problem. You need to be relentless to combine. You know, I talk about the combinatorial effect of technology. I think we should talk about the combinatorial effect of talent. You know, when we started to work on organ donation, we had doctors, we had mathematicians, we have people in quantum computing, we had all the people. I can tell you it's a lot of fun. Not only it's a lot of fun to understand exactly each other, because sometimes we just don't. But after a few hours, basically, we start understanding exactly what we're trying to do. And then to come up with a result that all together I've been working on, this is really amazing. So learn, keep learning, make sure you learn. And I think the last one is obviously sharing. There's no successful economy without sharing. There's no successful business, no successful technology with sharing. Every model will change. We talk about circular economy, will change. We'll see new models coming up much faster than we think. Sharing is going to be at the center of everything we do. So build partnership, get enthusiastic about technology, stay positive. I know that there's a lot of techlash right now related to technology. I still feel very positive. You need to be positive if you want to drive the R&D of Accenture, because there's so much technology and people are so excited about it that if you're not positive, then nothing's going to go. All right? So enjoy the event. I think probably the last thing that we said, I'd like to have like probably 30 years, be 30 years younger and be in your shoes. Because again, what I've seen in the last probably 30 years of my time through Accenture and IBM is nothing comparable to what you guys are going to experience. So I'll continue programming. I'll continue to be excited and testing stuff. And I hope that I'll see you again, Open Slava, probably 2030 or 2040. Thank you, guys.
All right, give it up for Marc. Thank you. Stay here. One more question. Hey, look at that. Nice. I'll leave you in a second. Yeah. Silence. There you go. Nice, pumped up audience.
I know, it's pretty cool. I love it.
Also a bit of a freaky audience, because when you ask for standing ovation, some rows are like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. And when you say, 200 million people divorced?
Yeah, 200, not 200 million, but 200.
200 right people?
Just in UK, by the way.
Yeah.
Just in UK. It's like
200 people divorced, and they were like, spontaneous applause for the divorce. Freaky audience here.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I really liked it. I'm from Belgium. I'm from the Flemish part, but like you know, in Belgium we have like
nothing's perfect. That's okay.
Nothing's perfect, but we have a lot of French influence, and I like your name. I like the presentation a lot. And when we in Flemish, in my dialect in Flemish, when we would say like this is an epic presentation, and we would say the English translation, we would say, "Damn, Marc," to say that it was really good and really cool opening. We would say "milliard."
Yeah, billiard.
That's what we say.
Right. Yeah, billiard.
Milliard. So I say to you, milliard.
Okay, thank you.
Damn, Marc. I have a question for you. One question for you. They asked me to ask a smart question, but I have no clue every year what you people are talking about. So if this is a dumb question, forgive me. But I was looking at this, and if I look at the companies that we are working with, it's also the global brands around the world.
Sure.
And we're talking about innovation and disruption, and we have toasters flying all over the place and conquering the world.
They're not flying yet, but they will.
No, but when I'm talking to these global leaders, they're happy that their SharePoint works or that we can put up a Skype. They're super proud that they get Skype to work. Do you see, so my question is, do you see that there is becoming a bigger gap between the disruptors and innovators and the business that can follow? And if so, who do you think, or how do you think, is it also technology, that will close that gap? Is it the people here? Is it Accenture? Is it technology? Who will make sure that...
Yeah, there's definitely a gap. And I think there's one word to try to alleviate this gap is education.
Okay.
And we need to train people. We need to, I say that again, it's like, for a lot of people, even like, look at my mom. She's like 87 years old. It's like, I've been bombarding her about quantum computing and everything and stuff like that. For sure, she doesn't know what it is. But if you explain simply, using some analogy like my digital toaster and everything, what technology can do and how you can leverage it for your own good, then people start to see the light at the end of the tunnel and says like, that's damn good. I'd like to try it out. I'd like to do something about it. And I think a lot of educations, you're just talking about SharePoint. If you look at the entire Microsoft stack, I love Microsoft, and basically you can be much more productive where you are by connecting all the different tools themselves. But you need to understand that. That means that you need to learn. You need to read the paper. You need to read the damn README files and stuff like that to understand exactly, try it out, work and everything. And that's how it works. And then people say, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Yes, of course, you can do that. It's like when you have a new car, you have so many features. Read, learn, do stuff. And we need to educate people along the way. So I think more education, more people will be thrilled about what technology can do, can empower them with. And I think they will go with more innovation.
So the people here have a big role to play.
They do, huge role.
All right.
All right.
Then I thank you, Billiard. Give him a round of applause, Marc. Thank you very much.